Yes, hello class. In the last tutorial we had created this cup of tea, hot, as you can see it, but we can as well add on something here to create this plate differently. We wanted us to add on the other code. We could add something small here on the plate. We can put something on the plate, then so the element of before, so position is absolute. We can change this. Bottom is 10 pixels, left is also 10 pixels. The same applies to right and top. So the colors can remain the same, but we want this gradient towards the left, such that we assume right was coming from the right hand side. We don't need to rotate anything in this because translate anything because the plate is already seated there and structured, so we don't need. I think before you come to the area of the plate, that is what we are targeting. We don't need to add this much shadow. You can go back and might need to open this once again and see how we can go about it. So we are remaining with just something small here of saying that before, if it is before, then the content, let the content remain empty, such that we occupy that space. As you can see here, so that we occupy that space, and we would be able to do that. We don't need the width because we are saying just the space before. That is all we are talking about. And now we can have something like this. You can see this instead of before, when it was sort of going outside, now it is inside. So this looks more of a plate than what it was before. So this is the only thing we needed to add. If you wanted to do this, you would then increase how that is being done, but there is not much. We can just leave it out like that, and then we have our code as it is. So I felt like you needed to include that, and then we could continue today with something else, trying to style a button. Is what we are going to deal with today. So we can begin. We want to create this button to be a link, but at the same time a core button. So this can take us to maybe https www.skycodes.com. Then we have a span tag that has a button. Okay, then we have water, and that is all. We can call that grass water to see how we can go about this. So we can say that all of them have margin is 0, padding is also 0. I am assuming by now you know what this means. If you do not know, you can check our tutorial for navigation bars. You will understand why we set the pages in case there is nothing else you want to add on, or you want to create your own margins and paddings. Then you need that. After that, you need this box sizing property to make sure whatever you will add in will not expand the total width or will not increase either the total width or the total height of whatever container you will have set. So you can say the font family here can be say sans serif, like that. The body, since we are just designing it on this page, sort of a full page, we can say display flex, justify, content is center, align items is also center. If you do not understand what we are doing here, please also check out our tutorial concerning Flexbox. It will tell you why we are saying display flex, and then we are using these things like justify and align items compared to the normal ones of align and vertical alignment. Here we choose to use that, so we can call this 0, 0 and maybe 0.8 and close it out here, and we end it like that. So we can open it up, and we shall have a link in that way. We can now go back and say A, which is a link, and we are trying to style that for most of the time because it is where our focus is. We have position, relative, and also we have padding, 20 pixels, 50 pixels, creating space inside. This is text decoration, none, removing the underline. The width is 200 pixels. We are also saying border dash radius 6 pixels. Then we are saying a box shadow can come up, and we say green 0, 0, 10 pixels. So there we are. We can now talk about the span here, which is also inside the anchor tag. A span, we have position, relative, z index is 1, color of the word there, the color of our word is supposed to be say white smoke. You can use another color of your choice. We have the font size. You can increase the font size at 20 pixels. We can try to make it big by saying that the font dash weight is 600. This is what we have here. Okay, that is what we have so far. We can say that the letter spacing, we are just trying to design this and as a way of remembering what we've been covering all along. If you don't know what letter spacing does, please check all our tutorials under text. They will let you know quite a number of things that you might not be aware of. So we could say a dot water, which was the div we created and was empty. We can say position is relative, sorry, absolute. It is inside the anchor tag, which we set as position relative, so we can play around with this. Can say left 0, okay, top 0, width, can say width to be 200 pixels. The height is also 200 pixels. We can just put in a background quickly here. Background, excuse me for that. Background can be, I'm trying to create some color that might look like water. Transition, shall play around with this transition to make sure it dances around later. Transition is 1 second. Now when we check it out, this is what we have now. You can probably put box shadow 00 40 pixels at the bottom. Inset, RGBA of black, .6. So you can see we have a certain shade sort of moving out, increasing this. We shall see how we can bring it up once again. We are saying that a dot water, the class, that before this class, before all these are applied, for example, comma, a dot water, and after they have been applied, we are saying that content should remain empty, just like we did in the cup. Absolute, we can say that the top is 0, left is 50%, the width is 200% of what we have set as the total width. For our anchor tag, this one, so meaning it is an overlap so far. Then we have a height also of 200%, and you can check out without the background color. You won't be able to see anything. Background RGBA of, say, this. Okay, you can see it here. but we want to put it up here, so we can say that transform translate, we are saying on the x-axis move -50%. Before that, you can see now where it is, comma -75%. Now you will see it moving up there. So we can come back here. Now that we're able to see that color, we can change slightly on a.water. You can first look at how it is this. Okay, we can make that to -80 pixels. Now we've poured this water thing inside or upwards to make sure, because when it was just 0 from the top, just like that, much as you don't need pixels, this is what we had. So we are pushing it inside upwards. If you are still getting confused with this, please check our tutorial about positioning. It will tell you more about why a negative pushes it outside and a positive pushes it inside. There are other things we can do here. We are tackling 2 classes, before and after, and these were the general settings. But we could also say that a.water, this would be setting specific class or specific settings or properties that are not general to both after and before. One of them is border radius of 45%, meaning the two have different border radii. Background is RGBA. We could set something else. We can say 18. That is creating a certain shade of gray, but if we wanted it black throughout, we can make sure that the opacity is just 1, and then we shall have something like that. So remember, there are 2 classes, after and before, set the same way here. But now we are creating a curvature on the class of before. Okay, pseudo class, and giving it this background, and the animation, we can call it button. The animation name, 10 seconds is duration, linear as the timing function, and then infinite as an iteration count. So this is 5. We can copy this and create the one for after, but before that I would want to show you how it looks like. So now the one that is curved is for before. Okay, then we can create another one here that is after, or we need to differentiate it with. The rest can be okay, but we want it to play at a different time, and maybe we can even make this 35, the radius. So there are 2 things here that are at that point. We can say 40%. So now they are both inside there. We could remove certain things, since all of these are inside A. Here you can say overflow, overflow hidden, and now we shall remain with something like that. Let me increase it in size so that you can find it sweet. So this is what we have now. We are ready now to start making it dance, and we want to make it dance in beats. We want it to dance properly. At keyframe, identifier is button in both cases, because we are going to handle it in the same way. At 0%, we are saying transform. For you to be able to understand this, you need to have gone through our tutorials of 2D, 3D transitions and animations. This will be easy for you to at least comprehend or find some correlation. Negative 50%, the same state. 75, negative 75%, but also rotate it at 0 degrees. When you are at 100, okay, when you are at 100, rotate 360 degrees. We can check it out. There it is dancing. You can see. But if we reduce this to say 35%, and then we can see it dances further, touching the things below. If we move it upwards at 50, we can see what is happening. That will not be a movement of water, but something else. So we can make it 45 and then 40. I wanted to show you how that is done, such that you get to know that these numbers are tested. So that can be sort of water in a jerry can. We can also say that once you hover over this link, okay, then the dot water class, because it is what is dancing, that the top should hide itself, negative 120 pixels. That the top should now be negative 120 pixels. Remember, we set it at negative 80 here. Right now we set it at negative 80. 120 would be that when you move over this class, it should disappear. That's what we are doing, disappearing inside. Remember, we first said overflow hidden, so the overflow gets hidden. The one that would be up here, you won't see it anymore because it is hidden. What remains is what is here. So meaning up here everything is dancing. Without the overflow hidden, we would be able to see the whole thing dancing. You see it? So everything there is dancing. But when we say overflow hidden, we just want the only part that is touching inside our A should be the one to dance. So that tells you that when we say rotate 360 degrees, they are rotating 360 degrees simultaneously, but because the curvature differs, that is why you see them at different angles. So give us a like, give us a comment. Otherwise, thank you for following us.